Okay, social media. You gotta have this, man. Whatever. Right now, in 2009, that's really good. In 2009, social media was this magic bullet. Whatever problem your company or you as an individual have, social media will fix it. It will get you hired, it will find you dates, it will, keep the terrorists from winning, it will do all these wonderful things because social media is fantastic. Okay. In 2010, social media became more fear-based. If you don't have it, your competitor will. Everybody else is doing this over here and they're getting all this successful. I don't know about you. I think in 2011, again, that's my opinions, in 2011 we start to grow up a little bit. Okay? And by that I'm talking businesses. If you see the crap my kids put on Facebook, it ain't going to happen in 2011. Actually, it's not that bad. But there's no question that Facebook and LinkedIn, those are the two. Everybody, Foursquare, whatever, any of these other products, those are fine and good and dandy and they all have their values. But these are the two guys. Facebook, if you deal with consumers. LinkedIn, if you deal with businesses. All right? Twitter is a glue that kind of supports all the stuff as well. But I think a couple of things that are going to happen is instead of it being based on we have a presence on blank. We have a page, we have a fan page, we make sure we update, we do that. It's going to go to more of here's our strategy. We need to have this much involvement. We're going to put together this many events. We're going to do this many. So we're going to become more of a budgeting process. And I think it's going to start blur with mainstream marketing. And it's a two-way blur. You can already see this happening where ads on TV include Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter relationships, links, whatever you want to call it. I think that's going to continue. I think company putting more and more marketing stuff on YouTube is going to continue. But there's going to be more thought put into it, and thought in the traditional marketing sense. Okay? How many of you are on LinkedIn? Okay. Cool. So you guys aren't, or how many of you are on Facebook? Okay. How many of you are doing groups in LinkedIn? Okay. How many of you want to just keep putting your hand up because it's cool? Really? You think so? So for LinkedIn, belong to about 30 groups. Okay? I belong to about 20 or so that are local oriented. So there's Northeast Ohio or Akron business, IT, consultants, whatever. And the remainder are more of the technology. So, SQL group, a SharePoint group, whatever. And one of the things that we do is every month we do the Lunchinar. I'll put in a LinkedIn event. Okay? And then I'll put a discussion notice on each of the groups that are local about the LinkedIn event with a link to it. That takes about 40 minutes of my time. Now, we also take our blog and we'll put a blog entry about this event. Okay? And we'll put it on Facebook and we'll put it on Twitter. Once we're done with this now, John will edit it and put it on YouTube. And then we'll put over on, we haven't done it on LinkedIn yet, but we'll put on our blog the fact that it's up on YouTube. And put it on Facebook. We'll put a next article, an article in the next newsletter about the Lunchinar that happened. Maybe with a picture. We also do about 300 postcards a month. and we'll usually put a blurb about the Lunchinar in the postcards. So, we have this one event. We've put announcements in about 20 spots on LinkedIn, as well as just a searchable event. Facebook a couple of times, YouTube, all of this, and it's the same freaking event. And yet this is all I got. I should have like 150 people here. What's wrong with you guys? But here's the challenge, and here's the key. I'm not just interested in getting people here. I also equally want to make people aware that we exist and aware that we do this. Why? For two reasons. One is we look bigger than we are. Okay? No question. Larger IT consulting companies, you know, I see, God, I get, to some degree, several people, you know, I run into at events, are, wow, yeah, I've been meaning to go to one of your Lunchinars. No, you don't. You don't, but you know about us. You've seen us, you've heard about it. There's some kind of mark that we made on your brain. That's cool. And also, if we ever do meet in another manner, we've already had that soft introduction. And we establish ourselves as experts. Because, and I know especially those of you at the end of this meeting are going to go, seriously? Because I stand up here and make an idiot out of myself, every person that knows that I did it, except for you guys because you actually heard it, their notch, their estimate of my knowledge is going to go up a little bit. It's human nature. If you present, if you share, people are going to think you're smarter than you are. Obviously, you're here. Okay, by the end of the meeting it goes back down again a few notches. Or you talk to my wife and it'll go way down. But everything I just mentioned, all of the things that we do, the e-newsletter goes out to about 2,200 people. Forget the postcard mailer for a second. All of those touches, all of those events, it's the cost of the Lunchinar. A couple $100. Okay? Easy to do, easy to repeat, easy to maintain. And it's those kind of strategies as far as the social media and some of the networking and all that kind of thing. And not ours specifically, obviously. But I think those are where a lot of the social media and networking is going to go. Yeah?
And except for the postcards, most of that's free, right?
I'm sorry?
Most of that is free, except for your time that you're doing.
The only thing that costs us is the e-newsletter, and we use Constant Contact for that. We're spending, I think, 40 or 50 bucks a month. It's a freaking bargain. Freaking bargain. And we generate the newsletter, so there's the content time for that. But, and again, I got into an issue with some of the other IT groups or IT consulting firms in the news group I was dealing with. And we had that discussion over newsletters, because some guys were talking about just renting a newsletter. And I was like, no, this is how you brand yourself. This is how you let people know what you're like so that they can stay away from you, you know. That's pretty much my main presentation. Any questions or thoughts or issues or anything else you guys have? Any topics I didn't cover that you think I should have? I'd be curious on that. Yeah. I think you could take any problem of that type, whether it be WikiLeaks. Don't type that into a browser. I don't even want to guess what that's going to come up with. The WikiLeaks on the one side, and also all of the invasions of the data invasions that have happened. You know, where you've got like the credit card's been leaked, all that kind of thing. Any company worth their salt is going to pay attention to what kind of options or holes or all that kind of thing. I don't think it's going to hold back because if you remember during the 90s when the whole e-revolution was happening, companies were, even though everybody was saying, I don't know, is it really secure to buy a book over the internet? I mean, that's going to be crazy, man. The same exact conversations were happening. And the interesting thing is, and I'm going to get a little off color here, but it's true, is pornography. was one of the biggest and fastest adopters of the e-commerce, because people will pay through the nose for anonymity for that sort of stuff. And they will pay it, they'll take lousy service and support and all that kind of thing. Well, now the exact opposite is happening. With the latest revolutions, the porn industry is getting hammered, because now, pardon my French, the social media versions of porn that are free there's no new technology that someone's willing to pay for because they don't have to. So there's some real interesting differences between the two. So right now, my bottom line opinion is I don't see a huge backlash from the challenges that cloud-based services have. Not to say they aren't going to happen, but I don't see them. So, any other thoughts or questions? Cool. We did something really radical. We actually came up with a schedule for our Lunchinars. I guarantee you it probably won't be exactly this, because we're going to get bored or something else is going to come up or whatever. But this is tentative. Any other questions or anything along those lines? Cool. Our next Lunchinar is going to be mobile solutions. We're going to talk about Droids, iPhones, Blackberries, all that kind of thing. And Kevin's actually going to be doing a good chunk of that presentation. I don't know if I mentioned that to you or not. But and then in March, there's actually two new versions of Small Business Server, which is Microsoft's answer for companies less than 75 users. SBS 2011, we're going to be talking about that and what that means to small companies. There's especially one, the Aurora product, which is going to be kind of cool for companies who have like 10 or 15 workstations. And it's a combination of cloud-based services as well as local server. Some cool stuff there. So.